Hi guys, my name is Christine and I'm a dating, relationship and personal development coach, and today I'm talking about why do we want the ones that don't want us. So this was a question from a viewer, and if there's anything you would like me to discuss in a future video, then please leave it down in the comments section and I will answer it as soon as I possibly can. So why do we want the ones that don't want us? So there's a quote that I like by Tony Robbins, and that is rejection breeds obsession. So if you've been friend zoned by someone, or you've been just flat out rejected by someone, you've been dumped by someone, it tends to breed obsession. So we start to really think about that person that rejected us. And because it hurts a lot. It's kind of like if you go to the dentist and you have like a tooth pulled. You know, your tongue is exploring that hole for months on end. Like if you've, ever had that sort of situation, your tongue is like really exploring that gap, right? Where your tooth has been pulled. And I think that's a good analogy for when someone rejects us, especially if it's something that's never really happened before, or someone that you really, really, really liked. Your brain is then, trying to figure out what happened because you went through a hurt, you went through a painful experience, and our brain then tries to map that out, tries to figure that out so it doesn't happen again, which is why we tend to start thinking and obsessing over that person because we're trying to figure out what happened, right? And that's a reason as well. And I think also as human beings, we are quite competitive, and I think sometimes what comes into play is, if we get rejected, then, maybe there's something I can do to change their mind. Maybe I can conquer that person. Because I remember this happening to me. I remember being rejected and then thinking, clinging on basically to that person way longer than necessary, basically. And I kept on thinking, I wonder how I can get her to like me back now, and thinking like that. And it was one of those strange situations because, looking back, you think it's because in your head you make them way more better than what they are in a strange way. And, because I look back, at that time now and I'm thinking she wasn't even that good looking. She didn't have a great personality or things like that. I'm sure she does, she's wonderful to the right person. But thinking back on it, I'm like, why was I even that interested, right? And it all came down to the fact that I was really interested, really. And the reason I got so interested was because I got rejected. I was interested and attracted a little bit to begin with, which caused me to pursue her. But after a while, I became, really in love with her after she rejected me, right? So it's like, whoa, what happened there? And what happened was rejection bred obsession, right? And she wasn't even that great. Because I remember like meeting up with her, like a few months after the rejection, just looking at her thinking, you're actually not as good looking as I remembered you to be. Because I just like put rosy glasses or nostalgia over what I was, doing, what I was thinking about, my thought process over here, I guess you could say. So that's one of those things, right? It's something your brain does to you, I think, in a way. Obviously, in a way, we kind of do it to ourselves, because if we get rejected and then we become obsessed, we start feeding into the obsession by, I don't know, looking back through old photos of them, overanalyzing old text messages, things like that. So that you kind of feed into it yourself. So once you become aware of it, though, you never sort of do this stuff ever again. Even if the pull is there to do it, so if you get rejected, you kind of can get over it quite quickly. But you still might have a little bit of that stung a bit, and you still might have a pull to try and obsess, but you can stop yourself from doing it once you realize what you're doing, basically. So another reason why we want the ones that don't want us, and this is a quote from a book and a film called Perks of Being a Wallflower, and that is we accept the love we feel like we deserve. So if you have a low self-esteem, then it's very likely that you are going to obsess over and start really desiring someone who has rejected you, because it's fulfilling your self-prophecy of yourself that you don't feel like you deserve love, right? And even if you're not consciously aware of it, you might be aware of it on a very subconscious level. Like if you don't like yourself very much, if you feel like that, you don't deserve love, then you're going to play that out in your life by becoming obsessed with people that don't want you, right? And being into people that don't want you, right? Because it's fulfilling that belief about yourself that you don't deserve to be loved. So another thing as well is like if you had like a cold or like an emotionless parent, I think growing up sometimes that can play into it. Like if there was like one parent or one caregiver of yours that you felt like you really needed to fight for their love, then that might play into it as well. So when you get older and you start having more adult relationships, you start to behave in a way that kind of mimics that relationship that you had with that cold parent or cold caregiver, right? That didn't give you, the good pats on your head and enough, love in general, enough hugs, So that's something else as well. So what you want to do then is to stop yourself from doing this, or at least to prevent it from happening and to make the blows a lot easier if when someone does reject you, is you need to build up your self-image. And there's that quote that I use by Dale Carnegie a lot. That goes, inaction breeds down fear, action breeds confidence and courage. If you want to conquer fear, do not sit at home and think about it, go out and get busy. So if you want to feel good about yourself, create a goal. Create some goals for yourself and start taking action on those goals. So it could be like a weight loss goal, or it could be maybe you want to lift a certain amount in the gym, lift weights. Perhaps you have like a goal, a business goal or something, or perhaps you want to live in a nicer area, or perhaps you're in college or you're a student and you have things that you're working towards, like getting your degree. Perhaps you get like, maybe your next goal would be like getting an A in your next paper or whatever. Get yourself some goals and start working towards those goals. Because if you feel like you're progressing and you're making headway, basically, on the things that you want to achieve in your life, then you will feel good about yourself, right? Because it gives you a lot of self-respect to work on things that are important to you, and working on your goals. So you've got to get yourself some goals and start working on those. And, do something every day to get yourself towards your goals, even if it's just every Monday to Friday. And that will make you feel really, really good about yourself because you're taking action and you're progressing and you're taking action on things that are really important to you. And that will give you confidence, right? And it'll make you feel more courageous, and it'll make you feel better about yourself and make you feel good about yourself. Right? You've got to develop that sense of meaning, because there's that quote by Viktor Frankl which says, when a man can't find a deep sense of meaning, they distract themselves with pleasure, right? And people that are unhappy seem to distract themselves with pleasure, like they play video games too much, or they watch too much Netflix, they indulge in too many unhealthy foods and drink, things like that. Because in the moment, those things feel really, really pleasurable. But over time, they erode at your self-esteem because ultimately they're things that aren't really good for you. You're distracting yourself because you don't like your life. And if you don't like your life, then you need to change that. You need to figure out how I can, actually enjoy my life. And that's why you create those goals. You create your goals so you can have a better life. And you start working towards those goals. And then you start to feel better about yourself, and it builds up your self-image, right? Obviously, having a good positive self-talk is good as well. So if you do have a lot of negative thoughts, you need to question those negative thoughts. If you get a negative thought on, let's say, oh, I'm ugly, you need to really question that and say, okay, well, is that true? Is that really true? And you might think, well, there was, a while back, there was that woman that was really interested in me, or man that was really interested in me. So I can't be ugly because that person found me attractive. And if I was ugly, then everyone would find me unattractive, right? So you start to question these negative thoughts that bubble up. And, even if you do have that negative thought of, oh, I'm ugly, you can think of things that can kind of contradict it. And you can also think, well, if I am ugly, what are some things I can do to improve that? Can I improve the way I dress? Can I improve my hairstyle? Can I, improve my body by exercising it and eating the right things? And more than likely, the answer to those things is yes, you can always improve upon your appearance. So you just got to question that negative self-talk and try and flip any negative self-talk that you have into something that is positive. And that will make you feel a bit better about yourself and give you a better self-image. So when someone does reject you, you won't mind as much, right? Because you have the self-respect to move on, right? And realize that I deserve someone that wants me. And if this person is rejecting me, then I guess this person just isn't it, and I need to move on. So if you'd like to get in touch with me personally and you'd like coaching with me, then please go to www.christineloveridge.com. Thank you so much for watching, and I shall talk to you again very soon. Goodbye.